Good morning. I wanted to talk about connection this morning. My entire work and life and the nature of my being is about connection. And I want to tell you a story. It's a really great story. But I want to make some points through my story because I'm not going to ask you to go befriend bees. And this story is about bees. But I thought this story really exemplified the importance of connection. So for me, personally, my life has always been about connection to animals, the sky, rocks, people, myself, God, creation, source. Because somehow in finding that connection, more than trying to explain myself or examine my history, which was rough, more in these connections, I found myself. So the first important thing about connection is to want to be connected. And this is kind of a disease on our planet because most people don't want to be connected. They're afraid. They're afraid of life. In fact, people are so afraid of life right now that they're either killing it or dying or ill. This is a species issue. This isn't your individual issue. And some of us are fine. Some of us are doing great and have great jobs and are doing what we love. And some of us are doing everything that's right and yet feel an emptiness, a lack of connection within. So the first important part about connection is wanting to be connected. The second important part about connection is to take time to be connected. And the third, I think the most important part of being connected is to listen, to hear. So I'm a mystic and a seer and a prophetess. I am not your social norm, and yet I lead a fairly normal life. I have worked with thousands of people over the 50 years that I have been here. And I just have to say nothing is more beautiful than when humanity begins to reconnect with life. So my bee story. So we have beehives, boxes with bees in them on our property. And Georgia has a gigantic garden, my landlady. And the bees, last year we noticed, were starving. They were drinking all my hummingbird food, and they were drowning in our bird feeder, our bird, where there's water in the, out for the birds. So I spent the whole year, every time a bee was around me, I spent the whole year that they were around just saying in my head, and sometimes out loud, I can't hear you. That's all I said, is I can't hear you. And I need to hear you. The two most important things. I know I can't hear you, and I need to hear you. What a different world it would be if human beings simply walked up to another human being and said, I can't hear you, and I need to hear you. So we came into this year and still bees were one reality and Tantra Mat was another. But I kept the need for connection, like vibrating, oozing, emitting from my energy field. That is when you crave connection, when you crave something to occur, you actually emit almost a scent, almost a pheromone of energy that reaches out beyond your mental mind. So this year, I just started to do research because the bees were aggressive and they stung Georgia, and one stung Georgia and one stung me. And we don't want to get rid of them. We want to be one with them. So I read an article about lavender and I put it on my ears because that seemed to be what they were attracted to. And I took my dog Lily for a walk, and I didn't put anything on her because this was a sacred lab experiment, like in the Spirals of Being, which we did last year, which was just extraordinary, getting to know the creatures around us. And I noticed that not only did they not want to sting me, I could hear a calming, that the lavender actually calmed them. And that when they were calm, I could begin to hear. I could begin to hear connection. Now, I've matured in my capacity for connection with life. And in that connection, I hear things that I know are sometimes instructions, sometimes just the warming of my heart. So I heard some instructions about what plants to plant and what would help them. And now I'll research it and find the information on it. And in our kingdom here with our Murti dragons and our squirrels and our deer and our bear and our dogs and our cats and our humans and our plants and our mountain, we will increase our capacity for connection. But why this was such an important moment for me was because there's a very simple thing about being traumatized. That when a human being is afraid or traumatized or shut down or dulled down, they literally can't hear. And in that moment with that bee, I was so present to the calm that I worked with in the activation of the spirit and flesh, the calm that is innate to us, that lets us sentient beings, which sentient means the sensing of all life, lets our sensory nature, our sentient mind connect with life in all its forms. And as I walk back from Lily's and my walk with the bee, just very calmly, not buzzing my ear, a distance from me, I realized how important the work that I'm doing and others are doing in reducing trauma, to having human beings connect to something deeper in themselves, that in that connection to themselves and their ability to be calm, their ability to not be reactive to trauma, there is actually a hearing, a listening. And I would suspect, like the bee, that in your calm, in your ability to not be reacted and reactivated, in that calm, you can hear you and you can hear your life. We're about to open the Spirals of Being in September. And at the first of the year, they may take on a new form. They have been so incredibly successful in the area of connection, and I'm deeply appreciative. It's why I have been doing 6 months of activations and have asked people to purchase all 6 months. It's because it takes a while for the physical, nervous energy system of a human being to actually restore itself, to actually calm, and to begin to build coherence or listening or hearing within your psyche. But oh, when you can hear, there are such wonders. Have a great day.